Today we're going to knit a blanket.
I am fairly confident that anybody that is watching this right now has seen this blanket, a version of this blanket in some shape or form floating around on the internet, and they thought, oh, I would love that blanket. It looks so cozy and wonderful and soft and cushy. And then you look around the internet, you see the prices, and you wonder, is it worth it? Or you order one that's super duper cheap and it's about this big and you get it and think it's a scam because you did something like I do and did not look at the dimensions. Or you looked at the dimensions and you looked at them in feet instead of inches. I'm famous for that also. Okay, so I have a visitor now, so we'll see if I can finish this video. Hi, buddy.
Hi, Mom.
Are you coming to say hi? Don't spill Mama's coffee.
Hi, Kimwa.
That's Sterling. Sterling actually helped me today make this blanket. So did a few of the other kids.
I have brown eyes.
You do have brown eyes. They're very pretty brown eyes. I love your brown eyes.
Mom, of course, my pimples are white and pimples are black. So
Pimples are black. Okay. All right. See you later. Why don't you go wash the egg off your chin? Daddy just washed the egg off the floor that you dropped on the floor.
No.
What?
There was a hammer, and then it fell.
Oh, you made a hammock for the egg and the egg fell on the floor?
Yeah, for it to just like relax and go.
Oh,
No,
you wanted the egg to relax? Yeah. You'll see the egg again later in this
On
video.
my finger.
Back to what we're doing here. I'm going to make this blanket with the kids, and we're going to get to the end of making the blanket and then come back here to give you a wrap-up, to tell you if I think that this fits with, you know the idea of my channel, something that's easy, something that's quick, and something that I can make sellable. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit subscribe and give this video a like so YouTube will share it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you want to say like and subscribe?
Like and subscribe.
Oh yeah, like and subscribe. Where'd you get that sock?
From something that I was going to make.
What were you making?
I was trying to make like a pinball machine.
Really? With a sock?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. All right, we're going to get to making the blanket. See you in a few. First off, let me just apologize for all the background noise. We're right in the middle of our life, so I've got kids playing the piano, some skateboarding, as I'm going to go through this and let you know what's happening. So that's the Zippy Loom. These are my little hooks. This is my pair of scissors and my needle that I'm going to use at the end. I'm all ready. 6 skeins of yarn, my Zippy Loom, which actually this is 2 Zippy Looms, and I put 2 Zippy Loom kits, I guess I should say, and I put them both together. And then you can see at the end, I put one of the little curved pieces on the end just so that I could get to an even number of stitches that was close to the number of stitches that I made my first blanket with the kids with. I wanted it to be about the same size. So here's the yarn, opening that up, getting ready to put it on the Zippy Loom. This is a pretty simple process. You just start it with a slip knot at the end and slip that on one end, and then follow the directions in the Zippy Loom kit that tell you how to do this really simple little E-wrap. Just don't do what I did. I put it on, I started wrapping, and I wrapped it backward. Now, I don't mean I wrapped it backward like I went the wrong way with my wrap. I mean the loom should have been facing the other way. There's a little smiley face guy on each of these pieces that stick together in this loom. And the smiley face guy is supposed to face you because there's a nice little channel where you're going to put your hook so that you can slip the first row of stitches over the second row of stitches and continue that pattern until you get to the last row where you take it off of your loom. And if he's facing you and you use that little channel, it's pretty easy to slip it over. I hadn't noticed at this point when I continued to wrap that I had wrapped it backwards. And why would I? I wasn't really looking for the little smiley face guy. But as I go to my first stitch here and I flip it over, it's a little bit tight. Now, sometimes that happens when you first start on any kind of a loom. It feels a little bit tight for the first few stitches or even the first 5, maybe 10, just depends on what you're doing. So I got all the way to the end of this, and then I realized, okay, yeah, I wrapped it backward, and this is my 3rd row. I didn't want to start over. I thought, it's a little tight, but it'll probably loosen up. I was wrong. Very wrong. So let's just move ahead here to where I have 3 of my skeins of yarn done. And I'm going to get to 6. So we're going to go another 3 until the whole blanket is finished, because that's the number that I've heard people stick with. And just as I do that, I rip the yarn. I don't even know how I did that. But the good thing about this yarn is it's so simple because you can just stitch it up. And you'll see me stitching this really quickly. I just stitched it together, just like I'm going to do with all the little pieces and the ends after we're finished. And you'll see that here in just a minute. My last row, I made a lot looser so that I would have a looser row, so that when I take one stitch off and I'm casting off and I put it through the next, and then I take the next one off and I put it through, and the next one off and I put it through, and I make a chain here at the end, I had a little bit more leeway and it wasn't going to be a lot tighter than the other end where I had started. So I did take that into consideration and make that a little bit looser. Now you can see that little piece sticking up there. Those are the things that I'm going to sew in. Once I get it off and I knot the end, I'm going to stitch all these little bits where I've tied knots from finishing off one ball of yarn to the next. And there's my little dude with the egg. So we stitch those in and we're done. So all in all, I think that this is a pretty cozy little blanket. You can kind of see here that basically it is this wide. I can't open my arms up all the way, but on a person, this is about what it covers. It covers from here to the tips of my toes, so that you can't see that I've actually been making this entire thing in my pajamas. But what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can make it a little bit better and make it a little bit easier. So here's the plan. We're going to see if we can make it happen by using the same yarn, so that we're making a true comparison, and using the finger knit method. We made one with the finger knit method before, and I think it did turn out a little bit bigger because the stitches are a little bit larger. And I thought this would just keep the stitches a little bit more consistent. It did, perhaps, but really not so noticeable that I wouldn't want to maybe use the finger knit method instead of this one if I decided to sell these. So stay tuned and we'll try to do a complete fair comparison so that you can see which one I think is easier, which one that I think would be more sellable, if not both of them. But stay tuned and we'll have another video with the finger knit method of this same blanket. All right, we'll see you back here then.
Make sure to give a thumbs up. Bye. This is Mom.